What's up, everybody? We are back with another live edition of the Ad Podcast coming from beautiful Miami Beach at the Fountain Blue at the Possible Show. And we have Tim Ringel, the CEO of Meet the People, here with us today. Tim, thanks so much for coming on, man.
Thanks for having me.
So, Tim, for those who aren't familiar, tell us a little bit about yourself. What is Meet the People, and what are you guys doing at Possible this week?
Okay, that sounds good. So I'm a serial entrepreneur in the advertising industry now for 30 years. This is 3 decades.
Nice. Let's go.
And, I've always been in the agency space. I kind of stumbled into it. I'm actually an engineer.
Wow, interesting.
When I was 20, I kind of stumbled into SEO and the performance marketing agency in Europe.
Yep.
And then sold that after 12 years.
Okay.
And then did another company that scaled up to 1,000 people, and then sold my shares there.
Nice.
And then came to America to do it again.
Let's go.
And lo and behold, been in New York now for 9 years, and I'm building an agency group called Meet the People.
Nice. So is it kind of the typical, go to private equity markets, raise a bunch of money, do a roll-up like Sir Martin Sorrell and S4 and there are some other, prominent agency executives like yourselves that have done models. What is your approach, and what's your investment thesis? Like, what are you guys looking for?
I think my benefit is I'm one generation younger.
Yeah, right, for sure.
And that means I'm with my entire team, actually.
Mm-hmm.
We're very hands-on.
Okay, got it. So you guys aren't just deal guys, you're operators.
No, I don't come from finance.
Yep.
Yes, my team, of course, we have amazing M&A and finance people.
Yep.
But the real idea was to create something that's slightly different to what's out there. And I know there's a lot of agency roll-ups out there, but the reality is a lot of them get lost in the financial engineering.
Yep.
So, for example, I'm a believer in stripping away agency brands. But I think it's a bad idea, because our industry at heart is people.
Yeah.
So once you take away the agency brand, that kind of deteriorates very quickly. Once the founders leave, it deteriorates quicker, and then your clients leave. So that's what we see in the industry. Some of them are roll-ups, they're not meaty at market. Their market cap isn't great.
Yeah.
The story is shaky.
Sure.
In lots of them. So we are doing, I would say when we started, I wouldn't have compared this to Stagwell, but now we're very much less.
Interesting.
Agency that does everything from creative to content to experiential, shopper, retail media, performance marketing, data. That's the difference. We are not 20,000.
Sure. Okay. What are some of the big is there some recent acquisitions you can talk about that you're excited about? Some recent wins, or are you guys still in kind of the strategy phase?
No. We're in our 4th year.
Okay, nice.
So we're 800 people.
Yep.
The goal is probably in the next year to get to around 1,200 people. We're only in North America, US, and Canada.
Okay.
And work for 2 sets of clients. Large blue chips that everybody knows. IBM and Google. We just picked up SAP. So that's how we are, I would say, challenging the holding company.
Yep.
But usually with very specific services where we're just faster, better, more agile, and more startup-y. And then we work for a lot of mid-market brands where we do everything else.
Okay.
We win clients across 6 of our agencies in one.
Wow. Okay.
But these are usually US-based clients or Canadian clients, or somewhere in mid-market, multi-location, or manufacturers, sometimes CPG brands as well. But they're very US or Canada-centric.
Got it. Is there anything that you are looking to add to the portfolio? Is there something you're out there hunting for right now, in case people are watching?
Yes, we are hiring now, hopefully announcing a deal end of the month, not April, end of May. Retail media, Amazon specific agency.
Okay.
We do need it. We do a lot of D2C for companies who have not really done that so much or not done it really well.
Yep.
And we just can't go Amazon. We do a lot of Amazon already, but we just want to double down on that capability as well. And then we are actively looking for more creative agencies as well as traditional digital agencies always, because in the end, to an extent, our creative agency is amazing in what they do. They're 40 years in market with some amazing brands. You work on B2C brands versus B2B brands. You work on certain industries. In creative, certain industries really matter. If you want to win an airline, you have to really have travel experience, right? So we don't have an airline. We don't have a much tourist brand right now, automotive brand. One could say that's maybe good in these times. Western
you guys are tariff insulated.
And travel is down because of the market confusion.
Right.
So we're okay, we're not exposed there, but at the same time, it's an opportunity in the future. So we're definitely looking. And I think the beauty is we don't take away the DNA of it for a while. They become part of us. We want them 100%. And then the people get incentivized with equity on the voting levels, right? And that makes everybody collaborate pretty well, actually. It works pretty well.
Yeah, I love that. Now, you talked about the idea of trying to incentivize founders to stay around. What can you do to make that more attractive? Because I feel like so many founders, that's the whole reason that they're ready to sell, is they're ready to sail into the sunset, maybe be done with it, but then they end up, within a year, they're, itching to come back anyway. So how do you kind of stave that off? Yeah.
What our difference is, we're very authentic as an organization. I have built companies, I've sold companies, I've acquired more than I've built myself. But in reality, I've been on both sides of the table. I know how it feels when you have the opportunity to get that check and think of leveling up your life. And then also the loss you feel once you did it.
Yeah.
So we talk a lot about that business.
Yeah, culture. So much of an entrepreneur and an agency owner's identity is wrapped up in the business that they built. They think it sounds very sexy to have this big payday, but then a year later they're scratching the itch for something to do.
Correct.
Yep. Correct. And so many times they end up starting another agency.
But then they start from scratch.
Right.
It's
a
lot of work.
Yeah,
totally. You don't really want to be responding for ordering the coffee taps and the toilet paper.
Yeah.
100 people shop.
Totally.
Right? So what we kind of allow is you divest, you diversify, because all of a sudden you're part of CT Video.
Yeah.
At the same time, you can stay an entrepreneur. All our agencies are
okay.
Right? We just oversee, we help, we mentor, and we also don't micromanage. So I'm not really selling meet the people here.
Yeah, I love it. I'm always fascinated with these models. So.
But ultimately, why I did it is because my last company in Europe was 1,000 people. It was 22 offices in 14, 15, 70 markets, sorry. And I loved the entrepreneurial spirit, but we were all in performance marketing and data. So it was the same thing we were selling every day. So the same clients just going. And then I came to the US and got hired by IPG to be a CEO of one of the agencies. And I saw how scrappy and entrepreneurial my last business was and how I loved it. And then how professionalized the large holding companies were. And some parts I hated and a lot of parts I liked. So I figured, if we can just do what I did before, but with all capabilities, across the entire spectrum of marketing and advertising, but make it more entrepreneurial than the holding companies, let's make it 10% better. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
So, and that was really the vision, just for entrepreneurs with entrepreneurs, and clients appreciate it because you're not talking to, and hey, this no disrespect, I've worked in holding companies, we need them, I guess, right? But you're talking to me. If you become a client, you call me, you WhatsApp me. I'm on WhatsApp with a lot of my clients.
Wow.
All clients. We have nearly 400 clients.
Yeah, I think that's clients are always frustrated by holding companies bringing out the big guns for pitches, and then you disappear, and then there's 21-year-old kids on your...
and then you get the D-team of interns. And being extreme.
Of course.
But that doesn't exist well because we can afford... We don't have the legacy infrastructure. That makes us much more agile. We don't need real estate footprint everywhere. Right? We open an office. We just opened an office in Montreal because we have a client concentration there right now, and we're like, let's go. Let's just do it. We don't have to go to 15 committees, and the clients love that. So it's I don't try to build the next 10,000 people business.
Sure.
The goal is to maybe get to 2,000-3,000 people. And then it's still large enough to be able to compete, but at the same time small enough to be able to be managed.
Yeah.
Right? That's the idea.
I like it. All right, let's switch gears to your talk here at Possible. So you got some heavy hitters on the panel. CMO of BMW, CMO of True Religion Jeans, which is making a huge comeback. Tell me a little bit about what you plan on discussing with your panel.
So this is a little bit my, my lighthouse at Possible always. I do a panel. Last year I did a keynote and a panel. And it's all about the trends we see. Because it's one thing when MarTech companies and EdTech companies talk about AI. It's the other thing when I ask on stage the EVP of global brand for Amex or CMO of BMW, Marcus, a friend of mine, if I ask them, how actually are you applying it? What are you asking from your agencies right now?
Inside of the enterprise.
I want to get real stuff to people.
Yep.
And it's going to be 1,000 people plus.
Wow.
It's going to be a lot.
It's going to be a big one.
And I always have like you just see a person on the stage, because I really want to hear how they do it. How they do it in a larger corporation, because we all know AI is the frenzy.
Yeah.
And it has changed also how we step. It changes how we execute, especially in creative production, content. But how do the clients see it?
Yeah, right.
What about other trends? How are they dealing with the uncertainty there?
Sure, yeah.
That's super hard challenge.
Yeah, it seems like everybody's kind of burying their head in the sand and just hope that it works out. That's not a strategy, right?
I don't think that's true. I think
Really?
they
Okay.
BBC because
Yeah.
they demand it from the agency.
Ah, interesting.
Right?
Yeah.
So I want to get a little bit to the reality of it.
Yeah.
And that's why I just decided not to do a keynote. Because keynote is too much self-entertainment.
Yeah.
From my point of view, I really want to get information.
Yeah, it's a good time for those types of conversations, right?
Yeah.
All right, awesome. Well, Tim, really appreciate you coming on the show. If folks at home want to learn more about you or meet the people, where should they go to connect or find you?
Meetthesecret.com is the website, that's easy. And find me on LinkedIn. I usually am on LinkedIn. I'm not saying 24/7, that would be healthy. LinkedIn is my only social network.
Nice.
I scrapped all the others.
I like it.
So I focus on you.
Let's go. Tim Ringel, everybody. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much.